The Against All Odds podcast, sponsored by Oak Forest Recovery.
Welcome to the Against All Odds podcast. I am your host, Rachel, and we have co-host RJ, and we have Josh Jordan in the house.
Hey.
Hey, we just got back from sober camp. What'd you think about it? How was your experience?
It was really good. It was, I didn't know what to expect, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
I think it was life-changing, but you don't get to say that until you know that your life's changed. So I'll let you know in a couple
You don't
months.
feel changed yet?
I feel changed, but
You have to see.
when we get back into the mix, who knows?
You got to really check it out. Yeah.
It was good.
I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Josh also spoke at sober camp. That was
did you?
tight.
Yeah.
You were like an AA speaker, or
Right. Yeah, and I don't know if I would have gone if it weren't for that, just because the fam. It was a big strain on the fam. But getting invited to speak was a big deal.
Yeah, that's great. Cool. Well, I don't know if you've watched how we do this, but we normally go, it's kind of like a biopic.
Okay.
Right? So not necessarily like an AA pitch, but just like, who's Josh? You know what I mean?
Where did it start at the beginning? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You from Texas originally?
No.
Where are you from?
Oklahoma. I grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm only in Texas because I went there to go to treatment the
like
last
Rachel.
time that I did.
Yeah. Same twins.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
It's a good place to get sober. I mean, the best recovery in the country happens there. So
we could debate that. It's all right.
yeah. No, so I grew up in Oklahoma. I was born probably near Oklahoma City, and then grew up in Tulsa. And by the time I got to Texas, I was on like the do not readmit list for all of the facilities in Oklahoma.
Got it.
As of 2014. I think there's a couple more now.
Yeah.
But if it weren't for that, I don't know if I ever would have got on a plane to go to treatment, you know?
What was it like growing up in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
It was good. It was, quiet, and I think it's a good place to have like a young family. Everyone drives slow there. And I didn't know that then, but now that I live in Dallas, or I've ever visited here in LA, it's
Life is
everyone
slower.
really
Is it
drives
just
the
like
speed limit? Yeah, there's like a song about it, living on Tulsa time.
Oh, okay.
Everyone
it's
like goes
slower
the speed
paced.
limit, and if you go 5 over, you look like a maniac.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Yeah, it'll drive you nuts
Yeah.
if you're used to like living here. Or Austin.
Yeah, and then you go back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I drive like a maniac when I'm there.
Yeah.
Because I drive normally.
Yeah.
Is
But
it like
no,
farm? Is Tulsa like farms and stuff? What's the vibe? Set it up.
It's
Is there tornadoes?
there's a lot of tornadoes.
Oh,
it's like a normal part of elementary school. We go over like tornado drills and what to do at home.
Oh.
And probably once a year, there's like a moment where the whole family's in the bathroom with a mattress, and it's like not a big deal.
It's just normal.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah. That's real.
That's scary.
Yeah, there was one that like hit a town called Moore, Oklahoma, and like ripped up a school, and like it was a really, really devastating experience. And I was like 20 miles south, not doing so hot in a motel room, and kind of run out of friends and money all at the same time. And because I was in a cave, proverbially, I had no idea. And so when I'm like coming to and headed to probably treatment center number 3, I'm like passing through or by this town.
Just destruction, just leveled.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God. Anyways. But yeah, growing up in Tulsa was pretty chill. It was quiet. And
Do you have siblings?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. I come from a family forest, not just like a singular tree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was adopted, and then I got some step parents and some step siblings and some half siblings, and big family.
Yeah.
And
big
the
family.
only
forest.
one like me. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
It's good.
A family forest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, my siblings are not a lot like me, at least in the addiction stuff, and I'm just loud. Always had to like bump into stuff, and a little wayward the whole time.
Yeah.
But it was good.
And you said your parents told you were adopted at a young age, right?
Yeah, I think that I was like 6 or 7. I don't really know, but I think that I was 6 or 7 when I first when they first told me about that.
Do you remember that conversation? Or
I think that I do.
yeah.
Like I have a story and like
that
a
you've
scene,
made up. Yeah.
but I don't know how. You know what I mean? And I just, if I remember correctly, it was like, okay, so you're not my parents, and they're like, no, we for sure are your parents. Like, And I was like, okay, cool. You know, like,
Yeah, you didn't
and
really
I kind of said
understand.
it while I was speaking
Yeah.
at camp is like, all right, what's for dinner? You know,
Yeah.
like it just felt it felt kind of unreal. Like, I don't,
Yeah.
I'm 6 or 7. I don't
You
know how
probably
to
can't
process that
process, yeah.
information.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was, I mean, even at that age, like in school, I was stealing stuff. I remember like I stabbed a kid in the hand with a pencil, and it was in hindsight, it was just, there was so much like to be processed going on. And I just couldn't or didn't. And that was kind of how it would come up, was this like behavioral issues, unlike the one we just heard about with your son. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Like a little more
intense.
good reason for a call or an email. You know?
Your kid just stabbed somebody.
Yeah. He bit a kid, and the
I feel
kid's
like
bleeding.
that was normal. How old are you?
I am 33.
Okay, yeah, I'm 30. I feel like at that time, a lot of kids were getting stabbed with pencils. Though,
Oh,
you know?
all right. Yeah.
So I feel like it was,
good.
Things were different. A lot of
Thank God.
kids had stabbing problems at the time. If it makes you feel better, yeah.
This is news, but that's New York, right?
Yeah.
Okay. In Tulsa, I'm unfamiliar with other instances.
Because people are really nice and
they are kind.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So yeah,
New
you
York's
were
not. Yeah. People are nice.
We used to do those. Do you remember Indian burns? And
Oh,
stuff?
yeah.
Did you
Oh,
guys
yeah.
do? Okay, so you guys did.
I mean,
we
it's
fucked around
Oklahoma.
and hurt each other a little bit.
If
That's
it
how
said
we
Indian,
did in
we
the
did it.
90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Big into Indian stuff there.
Okay. So, what happens after that? You're going through your behavioral stuff. Is there any monumental, life-changing things that happen in between that and when you start using, or what?
Not really. Like the intro into drug and alcohol use, I feel was like super normal and wouldn't even be indicative of like addiction, right? It was just like probably around the time I got access to being in a vehicle that my parents weren't in, 14, 15, 16, somewhere inside of there, where I'm like with friends and we have, more autonomy than ever, weed and beer and, like super normal, sometimes on the weekends, but not really during the week.
Do you remember your first experience with those?
Yeah. The first time I drank, it was July 4th weekend. It was centered around a girl. You know what I mean? And my family was like, "Go do your thing. Be back at whatever time." And I drank as much as I could of like Smirnoff grape.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And that was really cool.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
There wasn't, I don't look back and think like, and there's where it all started. It was just like, oh, this is
normal.
fun.
Yeah.
And we are all doing it. But it wasn't really until, like I liked drinking, which I think for like a lot of teenagers, at least when we were, we just did it and we enjoyed it and it was fun. And then kind of moving through high school, so my dad's mom passed away.
Okay.
When I was like 16, 17, somewhere around there. And it just wasn't, it was hard. And I really loved her. I think that what had happened was for the first year and a half of my life, and I just make this story up, but for the first year and a half of my life, kind of pre-adoption, there was my biological grandma was really involved. And so I was first handed over to this like really loving family that was about to give me a whole great life. There was still this inclination to hang out with whatever old lady was in the room. And so I really, really loved grandmas on mom and dad's side, but I saw my dad's mom a lot. Like we went every other weekend, we got dinner with them on Sundays type of deal. And so she had a stroke and she was in the hospital. And just from that moment to the time she passed was, one step forward, 2 steps back, medically. And we would go visit her and whatever else. And there's this kind of like jarring like moment around all that where I just like stopped believing that God was real or that there was like purpose or an intention to life. If that
Had you
makes
been
any
close
sense.
to God before then? Were you like raised?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
I was like aware and it was like, all right, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, kind of like life was just kind of good.
Mm-hmm.
And like people lived.
Yeah. People
And
are
you
good.
had
Things are
fun
good. And yeah,
And then somebody dies.
exactly.
And then it was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. There
People
was,
die.
I think like there had been a moment of acknowledging a presence of something.
Listen, nobody wakes up one day and thinks, you know what'll be fun? Going to rehab. But sometimes life gets messy, and the bravest thing that you can do is admit that you need a reset.
At Oak Forest Recovery, we're not here to judge. We've been there. We know what it's like. We've been scared. We've been alone, using comedy and jokes to cover it all up. The good news is you don't have to do it alone. We have the tools, we've got the community, and we even have good coffee.
If you or someone you love is struggling, come see us. Healing doesn't have to be boring. It can even be fun, and we're here to help.
I was in band. I wasn't.
I was in band too.
Okay, cool. And I had gotten to be like really good at playing the trumpet, and I got to do a lot of really cool things in doing so. And I was playing in this ensemble of other like really talented teenagers. And I remember just at like the absolute peak, it's performance night. There's tons of people in the audience, and we're playing this music, and it was perfect. And I was this small part of creating something really, really magical, you know? And I remember sitting up there in that seat, holding my horn kind of against my leg and just feeling like, whoa, you know, life is not accidental. Like this is all a little too perfect to be explained away or disregarded as accidental. Right. And I think that's probably like the first time I felt like I was face to face with at least the idea that we're not here on accident, you know, we're not a series of really fascinating, but ultimately scientific, you know, accidents. And then up to the point where she passed, there was this, we were trading off going to visit her. And I remember I was with my dad and my stepmom, and we took the elevator up. She had gone from ICU to skilled nursing to assisted living, back to skilled nursing. Anyways, these different levels of care. And we were getting off the elevator to visit. And I just remember hearing wailing coming from down the hall. And I was like, ugh, you know, there's like a lot of old people here. It shouldn't be loud. It's very quiet and it's supposed to smell bad, you know? And we start walking down this hallway, and it's getting louder. And we obviously realize like it's coming from her room, and she's yelling and begging God to end her life and end her suffering.
Right.
And the three of us like stand in the doorway. And I remember my stepmom looks at my dad and is like, you know, hey, can you take him out of here? You know, he's young, 16, 17, whatever.
Serious, yeah.
And it's my dad's mom, you know, I could only imagine what he was experiencing in that moment. And he kind of like guides me to just outside the door, and he says like, wait here. And so I'm just like right there, like 10 feet, and the door's open, and I'm listening to all of this. And I remember like looking at the wall across the hallway and starting to like cry and putting my hands to my face or like covering. And I just remember thinking like, if God's real, this couldn't happen. You know, like if there was some loving, benevolent force, whatever, if it, you know, personified or not, this couldn't happen. And that against all of the stuff that I'm indirectly aware of, all the suffering of the world, you know. And I fell to the floor and just like bawled my eyes out. And it was, you know, 16 years of life, assuming that somewhere there might be, into a moment of like, there definitely isn't. And this is all pointless, you know. And from there was this really like kind of dark, you know, nihilistic, it doesn't matter what we do because we're not going anywhere. We didn't come from anything kind of mentality. And that's where like drug use really took off. Like, well, then let's just use everything we can get a hold of and try not to be aware of how sad and dark and lonely life really is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where it all kind of launched from there.
Yeah. How old were you? You were like,
I was like 16.
16?
Yeah.
So you didn't really start hard drugs until
Right after that.
what was the sequence of drugs you went through?
So up to that point, alcohol and weed. And then from there, it was like party drugs. Like, let's really get out of our minds. And I remember I had a job, and out of the friend group I was in, I may have been the only one that was working other than one other, but we took some acid, and I didn't ever like ask questions about the stuff I was about to put in my body.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's normal, But we get like, I don't know, it's like 4 a.m. and we're wide awake in a dark room with glow sticks, just a bunch of dudes, you know, being dumb. And I remember like kind of being clear enough to realize what time it was and that I had to be at work at like 9:30. And I go, hey, y'all, when am I going to go to sleep? And one of the guys like laughed. He's like, dude, we're not going to sleep. We got like 14 hours of this, dude.
Oh, shit,
It's like, oh no, I can't do that. You know, I can't be like this at work. And he pulls out this like bag of what I didn't know was Oxycontin. And it was just this like big bag of white powder.
80s or what?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. Compounding pharmacy, had the hookup. Now I know, like, whoa, what a deal. You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
And he like lines this out and I do that. And that was really cool.
That was, yeah.
It was really cool. And it was like, whoa, I've never felt something like this. And I was like, this is going to help me sleep. He's like, I don't know, but it's worth a shot. And it didn't help me sleep, but
Probably calmed you down a bit though.
yeah.
Yeah.
And after that, I was like, hey, I need more of that. Yeah. And let's do that every single day, all day long. And at the time, it seemed just like an endless supply.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I went off to college, barely. And I'm like 3 or 4 hours from my hometown where that guy lives. And I like run out. And I like, because I don't ask questions, and I guess I didn't pay attention in the
You
dare.
don't know you're strung out.
Yeah. I didn't pay attention in like the dare class.
I don't think any of we're all opiate addicts here. I didn't know the first time I got really dope sick. I had no idea. I thought I got the flu. Like I thought I was dying and I got the flu. I had no idea that happened. So you're not alone in that.
My buddy told me, he's like, if you do this every day, you're gonna get dope sick.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be really terrible. But I was like, dude, come on. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, right. You know what I mean? I just thought it was so like, I don't know, beneath me. You know what I mean? Like that you could get.
That's not gonna happen to me.
Like, I'm gonna get sick.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get sick.
And then you get sick and you're like, well, fuck.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I didn't know that was normal. I always look at that and think like, you're an idiot. So we're all idiots.
Yeah,
together,
we are.
which is cool.
Yeah.
For me, it was just the like the hubris that I had. You know what I mean? It was just like,
you were.
Someone told me, and I was just like, not me.
Yeah, I had no idea.
What are you talking about, dude? Like, I smoke weed every day. I can stop anytime I want.
Right.
I drink alcohol. I can stop. What do you, dude? Come on, please. Give me the sack, dude.
Okay, so you're at college. Walk us through the first time you got sick.
I'm supposed to drive like an hour north to hang out with my girlfriend. I've been dating a gal for like 3 years.
Does she know that you're hooked on?
She knows I like to party, but she certainly doesn't know I'm like railing lines every day.
Okay.
Multiple times a day.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to go see her. And I remember calling her. I'm like, I'm so sick. I got the flu or something. Which when you're a freshman in college and you're in a dorm, you're going to get sick.
Yeah. You do.
And so it was like, oh, all right. And then the next call was to that buddy. And I was like, dude, I just ran out. It was like, it wasn't about, hey, I'm sick. It was like, hey, I'm out. I need to figure out when to come up there, or like we can meet halfway, or you come in here type of deal. But I told him, I was like, I'm really sick though. And he goes, oh no, it's not the flu, Bubba. You know, he was like, let me know. And I like got in the car and drove all the way
right
home,
away.
you know, like, oh, cool. There's a medicine
exactly
for
where
this.
I'm
going.
Yeah. It's not aspirin, you know, it's not Theraflu. And so I went home and like, despite knowing what had happened, I was just like, all right, well, let's just keep it in us. And then we don't have to worry about being sick.
That was exactly. I went through a whole detox period because I thought I had the flu. So I stayed in bed without anything for multiple days. And then my boyfriend at the end was like, oh yeah, you're fucking going through withdrawal. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, and mind you, I'm like probably over a week, like with nothing now. And I'm like, well, now I just have to get it. And I just have to make sure that I'm never without it. That's like the logical, that's how my brain was working. So
incredible. Yeah. That's not what happened for me.
Okay, let's go. Let's hear it.
I drove home and got back up, as we say. And I made it a semester into college, and I got home for Christmas break, and a letter shows up in my mom's mailbox talking about how I'm on academic probation because I have gone to very few classes and turned in 0 homework, and she like confronts me about it.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen first. I've got to meet clients that have come, through finding O4S through my platform, and I think that's been one of the most special things. And then seeing them, I've seen people come in the beginning, and then I've seen them, at Bonfire or after, and seen like the light come back in their eyes and what a great experience they're having, and this new, community that they have now that could last for the rest of their lives and has set them up like for a successful recovery. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things.
And I don't know why, but I just like was honest. I'm like strung out on drugs, and it's not good, And I think what happened was I had such a great childhood and family, like despite like whatever, right? Every family has their stuff, but like mine was awesome.
Yeah.
And the idea that I'm now like strung out on drugs just felt unreal,
Yeah.
And it was so immediately uncomfortable that, given the next 6 years, 7 or 5 years or whatever it was going to be, every circumstance I was in was like unthinkable. Like, oh, I can't believe I'm here. You know what I mean? And so I got honest, and her response is like, I think she cried, but whenever she stopped, she was like, you can stay here if you stop, but we're going to unenroll you from school. Which for me was like devastating.
Yeah.
It felt like something I got to really be proud of. And instead of quitting, for years I told people they kicked me out. They didn't. They were like, hey, don't do drugs and you can stay here. And it wasn't that I got caught doing drugs. I just said like, I would rather keep doing drugs than live here.
Yeah.
And so I moved in with a buddy, that same buddy actually, and we just used everything we could.
So when you told them and you got honest, it wasn't like with the intention of like, help me.
Mm-mm.
It was just like, I'm on drugs and
This what it is.
I'm going to keep going.
I don't know.
So
I think maybe I told them.
How old were you at the time? You were like 18, 19?
So was a year behind everybody in school. So I was 17 at that time.
Got it. Got it. So interesting.
Yeah. I don't know why I got honest.
Yeah.
But I regretted it.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because on the other side of it was like, okay, well, you got to stop.
Yeah.
Which was the natural.
Makes good sense.
Yeah. That was like the obvious. Like I would think, like I remember when I was 20 and I got honest. It was like I got honest because I was like, help me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Help.
send me some. I'm ready. Like whatever it is.
But now that you're asking, I think maybe, and I'm kind of having to make up the story as I'm thinking about it, but like my car reeked of weed. Like I was really into smoking. And my car and my clothes, and like they were really like they knew that whether they had said anything or not, and that was part of it all. You know what I mean? I may have been like, hey, I'm like addicted to some kind of scarier stuff, but they were like, you can't do anything. And the idea of like not smoking weed was just like,
yeah.
why would I not do that?
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I need help with this one thing.
Yeah.
But I'm good with everything else.
Yeah. So I moved in with that buddy, and we just went wild, for almost a year. I remember before the lease was up, like within the year that I lived there, I had like gotten all the way into IV heroin use. And it was funny. The first time I ever shot dope, it was going to be this like ceremonious send off. Cause this buddy and I, we had gone to high school together. We were in band together, like all this stuff. And almost twice a week, probably, we were like, dude, we got to make something of our lives, And, and we were just in this like, Groundhog Day thing. And I remember like, okay, I'm going to do heroin and it'll be so good that it can be the last time I ever do opiates.
Of course.
Just one final send off high. And then it will scratch the final itch and we'll be done.
I'm going to hit the full maximum.
Not even close.
I bet it made a lot of sense. That really,
Yeah.
that made a lot of sense at the time.
Yeah. And within days of doing that, I was in treatment for the first time.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. And how'd that happen?
Yeah.
I found out that my strategy was flawed.
Okay.
And then I'm not the guy to have a final send-off moment. And and now I'm like really scared because like
I can't stop.
Yeah, as many times as a day as I literally can, I'm like a pincushion.
Yeah.
And when I would wake up, I'd be like self-aware of what was happening. And it was like, oh my God. And I had stole from this employer. We had taken money out of the safe. Oh, TikTok shut us down for stories like this. I guess you guys get into stuff like this anyways, right?
Yeah, we do.
Cool. And not this specific story, but the I had borrowed money from an employer.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, use this money, come up, we'll replace it by the end of the day, and we'll leave with what we made.
Yeah.
Not even close. $0 were returned.
You were just getting
were
finance.
made. Yeah.
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 And I was really like nervous. It was like $2,600.
Oof.
You know, and to them it would have been really frustrating, but like, but the experience of this, like, you know, almost young adult mind was like, oh my, you're going to prison forever, you know? And I remember calling my mom and just saying, hey, I really messed up and I need a place to like kick and I need help. And she like lets me move back in. She kind of, you know, at home detoxes me. I remember like the second day that I woke up, or maybe the first, I woke up and there's this like pamphlet on the nightstand for a treatment center. I didn't even open it. I walked into the kitchen and I said, let's go. Let's go. If it means I get a different life, I'm down. And she drove me to this treatment center and I did really good. I was like the guy who brings a notebook to every group and takes notes, and like I was all in, like really, really, really all in. And at the meals, I'd be like, are you guys done eating? Can I get that? I got you. Don't worry about it. I'm like working out. Like it was wild. And then 20 days in, dude, co-ed treatment. You know what I mean? 20 days in, she walks in and I was like, we're probably going to be in love.
Yeah.
You know, this is probably my soulmate. And it just derailed the whole experience that I was having.
Yeah.
And we crashed in and out of treatment. No. Yeah. In and out of treatment after that. Around the same stuff, around different stuff. I like borrowed a van from a treatment center. I returned it, you know, like.
Did you return it after you got caught?
Let's go into the van story.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's go into the van story.
So my family started catching on to like, what does Josh need? Individualized treatment. You know what I mean? What do I need?
Yeah.
And all male seemed to be important. So they found this 90-day all male, like faith-based spot. And it's a good spot and it's really affordable and they do really good work in Oklahoma, in like the southernmost part. And they shipped me off there. They drive me there. They didn't ship me off, but I'm there and I have this like roommate who was this like former police officer, and I'm buddied up with this like juggalo dude who buried a used needle in the flower bed on his way in. And we concocted this plan. And that same girl that I had met in that treatment center, she was living with the guy that we were like buying from. You know what I mean? Living with him.
Yeah.
And and I would call her and my roommate was like, yo, we should get her to like hook it up. And I was like, dude, what's she gonna bring it here? She could get in trouble. And he was like, we can go get it. And I said, tell me more.
How are we gonna do that?
Dude, so at night they where they hand out meds, there's this little lock box that hasn't seen a lock in years and holds all the keys to the vehicles. And so you've got like 20 guys in the room getting meds with one staff member. And there's
chaos.
My roommate over here grabbing a set of keys And then we know that we need help pushing the van down this gravel road. Because if we turn it on,
they're gonna know.
They're going to hear it.
Yeah.
So we had to enroll some other people. Now the group is up to 5.
What caused you to choose to become a part of the Oak Forest team?
The first time we came out, I was like, oh my gosh, this is my family. These are my best friends now. And I immediately felt very drawn to the Oak Forest community. I think it's really beautiful, from just the bonfire meeting and people not even necessarily needing to go through Oak Forest to go to that. And then also knowing that they have this safe community, or if someone needs help, they can go through this program that has changed so many lives. I love that it's like a family and tribe, like you call it. From seeing how many people have gone through there and then decide to work at Oak Forest and help others and want to stay in that community because they love it so much, I think that's truly something I haven't seen anywhere else.
We had an allowance because they would take us to like Target or Walmart on the weekends, and we'd all pool together a little, who knows, $32 or whatever. And our little team pushes this van down the gravel drive, and we turn it on and we go into town. And the issue is when you send somebody like me on an errand like that, and I'm the middleman, brother, you know,
I'm gonna pinch it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And the crumbs I showed up with that caused rage.
Yeah.
And so the next morning, staff like pulls me over and they're like, hey, we've been hearing a lot of stuff about you this morning. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh my God, you know? And, but also like devastated, because the truth is, out of every treatment center I went to, I wanted to go. And here I was like 30 days into a 90-day place, and I had like made some friends.
Fucked it up.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Like seemingly my mind had changed.
Right.
And admin discharge, you know. Yeah. And I think that might have been the last treatment center before coming down to Texas.
Yeah.
So then what happened? Your parents came and got you, or?
Yeah, my mom came and got me. And I mean, up to this point, they each, you know, my mom and my dad in their separate households had like kicked me out and kind of drawn hard lines. And then in the right moment, given the right circumstances, would say like, okay, but you know, this is what it's going to look like for you to be here. And then I would, you know, but after that, my mom moves me in. I start reading Purpose Driven Life. I start going to the gym twice a day. I get a job. I go to community college. Like I put 7 really good months together, and I was so excited and hopeful. And I met this gal at community college, and I'm, you know, it's not the job that my friends are getting now that they're graduating and whatever, but like, okay,
big
cool.
deal. Yeah.
Together.
Yeah, I'm 20 years old, and I have what I think everything a 20-year-old that values the things I value would want and have in order to feel normal, and thereby not have to escape his reality or whatever I thought I was doing. And towards the end of that 7 months, I remember it was coming up on my 21st birthday. And again, back to, just in case it is listened to, I might misremember all of this. But the way that I remember the story happening is I'm asked what I want to do. And you heard this over the weekend, but I'm asked what I want to do on my 21st birthday. I'm like, I don't know, you know, like I'm like sober and broke and like trying to build my life. And so I tell my mom, I don't know. And I guess they were talking about going to Vegas. And I was like, oh, how exciting. And I was like, what do you do in Vegas if you're like sober and broke? And I think that I remember my stepdad being like, well, why can't you drink? And I was like, interesting. You know,
that's a great question.
I hadn't stopped to consider, because like you go to treatment, and any sane-minded treatment professional is likely going to say something like, you know, if one is bad, they're all bad. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't get here on accident. Let's figure out how to establish abstinence or whatever, right? And that was kind of, I'm sober forever now, right? And here was this alternative idea that like, dude, you're not even 21, and sure, shooting heroin is really bad and dangerous. And you've overdosed now several times, and we skimmed over that story. But I had like wrapped a car around a tree after that first treatment center and flatlined.
So you overdosed like while you were driving.
Yeah, Walmart parking lot. And by the time I was moving my car at like 50 miles an hour,
You're just
gone. Yeah. And scared the fam pretty good, you know?
Yeah, right.
Did it scare you pretty good too?
It did. Yeah, I woke up in a hospital bed with like my hands tied down because they had like the tube down my throat.
Yeah.
And I remember like waking up and there's like mom's head and uncle's head and dad's head. And everyone's looking at me like, oh my God, he woke up. Thank God. And I remember like moving my wrist like this. And they give me a pen and paper. And the first thing I write is, did I kill anyone? Like I knew enough to know that I was just driving and now I'm here. What the fuck just happened?
Do you remember? You don't remember crashing?
Oh,
okay.
No, not a bit of it. They were like, hey, you
fell asleep and woke up in the hospital.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember like driving at all.
Yeah.
I just remember doing the shot, driving, and they said they had to like defibrillate. That thing.
The defibrillator.
Yeah, like I was like flatlined and out for minutes before the ambulance showed up, and scary stuff.
Yeah.
So I write that like, did I kill anyone? And somebody was like, no,
just yourself.
Yeah.
And then, you know, running on pure untreated alcoholism, the next thing I wrote is, then get this fucking thing out of my throat. Yeah. It was super uncomfortable, but like, dude, like totally without compassion or consideration of like my family in that room. Like, get this fucking thing out of my, like, what a brat, dude, you know?
Yeah.
And my uncle, he's like, why don't you watch your mouth? You know?
And you're like,
it's like, bro, come on.
It's my hand.
Yeah. I wish, dude. I wish. Anyways, and like from that moment, my family was like, you can't come here. And I like lived in motel rooms with those people I'd met in treatment. And we would drive down to Dallas to buy dope and bring it back up. And it was just this whole life for like 3 months of just like, what are you doing? You know, to like not talking to my family at all, whatever. And so then there were the other, like the all male treatment center and the whatever. Right. And so it's coming up on my 21st birthday and they're talking about Vegas. And I'm just like, it's kind of shaken loose, like this idea that I had that I hadn't stopped to like reconsider at all. And I don't remember, someone proposed this kind of experiment that I would later find out was like actually put in writing in, you know, the book Alcoholics Anonymous. But I got to drink like when and how much my stepdad drank, which I was very excited about. Cause like, despite everything that he did for our family and like showing up, like I said, all my parents just crushed it as parents. But he enjoyed the relationship that he had with beer, you know what I mean? And so I was really excited about this and like even more excited for it to work, you know?
Yeah.
And the day comes around, my birthday, and he gets home and I remember like, there's that line that talks about, you know, this elusive sensation. And I remember like that first beer, after like thinking about it for days up to that point, that first beer that he nurses and I chug, I stop and I'm like, no, the next one. And this is also, and I did all this over at camp, but like in Oklahoma, the beer is a lot like water.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that.
It's got less
alcohol
percentage.
Is like, we would like, people would drive to Texas just to buy beer.
Yeah.
And anyways, so the second beer comes around and I had to drink that a little slower so they weren't catching on. And I did the same thing. I like looked for that sensation and after the fourth one, it was like continually just like, that felt almost as good as I wanted it to.
Yeah, not quite though.
No. And what I didn't know is that I have this allergic reaction through which a craving is set off.
Right.
So the next day I'm at work and I'm buying alcohol for underage kids and like all this stuff. Right. And end up like blacked out for more or less 4 days before I got back on heroin. And I wake up on the floor of their house and I wasn't okay. Like my body was all messed up. My vision was blurred. I was hearing ringing. And after like an hour or so of that, I was like really scared because it hadn't worn off. I figured maybe I hit my head when I fell out or whatever.
Yeah.
But I went to my mom and I was like, hey, here's what's going on. And I'm scared. And we rushed to the hospital. And they said, hey, your liver and kidneys have shut down completely. And they've started releasing toxins into your body. Wow. And you have a condition called rhabdomyolysis. And you're going to have to be put on dialysis for the next 10 years that you're going to be alive. And you're going to be tired, and you're going to be, you know, eating kale salads and drinking water. And like,
in your experience with treatment, how special is Oak Forest?
Oak Forest is very special. I've had my fair share of treatment experiences. I've even worked in treatment myself. And Oak Forest is like something I've never really experienced before. And I think that it's almost something that like cannot be replicated anywhere else, at least from what I've seen, right? And so it's just like this community and the love and the support that goes from the beginning of the process, and not even just with the clients, with the families, with everything else. Like everything that I have seen goes above and beyond. And like beyond, even as like all of these people are being employed long after they have completed treatment, right? And I think that right there says everything. Terrible.
it's like a week after my 21st birthday, a dialysis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A diagnosis.
How did that happen? Was it something genetic, or is it just...
My body had 6 months of like being healthy, 7 months or whatever.
Right.
But I imagine whatever reconstruction that my liver was having to go through before that, it wasn't done with.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get 5 days of just unrelenting consumption of alcohol and then heroin. And it was
just
the perfect storm, dude. I don't know.
Interesting.
For a moment, my mom was like, well, you've been taking that creatine stuff. So be careful with creatine. But it was devastating, you know, like I'd been working out. I'd been doing all this. Like I just felt like, you know, days ago, you were the healthiest and most highly motivated version of yourself you've ever been. And here you are. You're going to be plugged into a fucking machine for the next 10 years of your short and lethargic life. And I was devastated. And anyways, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
But
so what happened?
So after 2 dialysis treatments, the doctor comes in. He says, hey, somebody upstairs is looking out for you. You're getting better. And we didn't even know that you could. And which is really good news. But instead of, you know, heeding the warning and whatever, I thought to myself, okay, so I'll get high one more time in this hospital. And then when I get out, I really need to focus on doing better.
Yeah, of course.
That's how it
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. And again, you know, my family did what they needed to for my siblings and for their own sanity. And they said, you can't come back. We love you, but you can't.
Yeah. We got to cut you off. Yeah.
And I spent like 11 months after that, like going to the methadone clinic every day, meeting new dealers and mixing in some cocaine and a lot of it was like speedballs every day for 11 months.
Nice.
As soon as I left the methadone clinic, and almost every day it was like, today's the last day. We'll quit tomorrow. Yeah. And then the catalyst for getting shipped down to Texas at the end of that 11-month period. Now it's like 22, right? Coming up on my 22nd birthday, I had run everybody away from me. There were, you know, bed sheets nailed to my windows, like really just
seedy.
Yeah. And I'd been up for like 3 days, and I guess I just figured like, oh, it's my birthday. I'll get a front. I'll get a birthday card with $10. Like, who knows, something. And so that last night, I like just pushed it, you know, I like used everything. And I remember like I couldn't even make it through the night before I was getting sick. And I'm butt ass naked. I weigh 140 pounds. I'm 6'1". So it's like super, super skinny. And I like dump over my trash can to find like dirty cottons to try and get this like last, like get me to the sun coming up shot.
Right.
And I couldn't. And so I know I have a strip of Suboxone at home, like one singular strip. And I just think if you can't find anybody to hook it up on your birthday by 12, by noon, you can come home and take this.
Mm-hmm.
And up to noon, not a damn person answered that call. And I'm at work and I'm starting to get sick.
Mm-hmm.
And so I tell I was like a shift manager, and I tell them all like, hey, I got to run home real quick. I live 10 minutes away. Like it should have taken no time at all. But I'd been up for 3 days and I was now really, really, really sick. Methadone, heroin withdrawal, like all of it, up for 3 days. Not good. And I fell asleep behind the wheel of my truck. And I woke up with it bouncing off of a median on the highway and just like screaming like I was about to die. And I like slam on the brakes and it comes to a stop. And I remember just like looking down at like my lap and thinking, you're never going to have a different experience with this. You're never going to stop. You're never going to moderate. You're never going to get better. Like, this is it until you die. And what do I do every time? I called my mom. I said, hey, I know this is the 20th time you've gotten this call, but I don't know how else I can say, like, literally whatever you think I should do, I will do it. And then I remember saying, I think that an all-male facility would be best. And what I didn't know is that, like, I had OD'd at their house sometime in the past. And my sister found me, and my mom had to give me CPR. And when the ambulance pulls off, one of the neighbors comes up, and it was like the husband and wife were physicians. One was an ER doctor, and they had a family member who was in recovery who had gone to treatment in Texas. And so they walked over, and again, my version of the story, they were like, hey, we think we know what just happened, and not to like embarrass you at all, but we just wanted to tell you, like,
there's hope.
My
There's
sister-in-law, her sister went to this place called Burning Tree down in Texas, and it was her 18th treatment center, and it was unlike anything she's ever done. And so it had like planted this seed, and some calls had been made that I'd never heard of, and whatever. And so by the time there was this final, like, no conditions, whatever, please God, I'll do anything.
Yeah.
My mom comes and gets me off the side of the highway. And on the way home, still just as sick as I was an hour before, right?
Yeah.
She's like, there's a year-long program in Texas that we want you to go to. And I said, thank God. Like, the idea of a year without all of that was a relief.
Right.
And that's what happened. I had like $7 in my pocket. They put me on a plane and said, if you want it bad enough, you'll get to Austin, Texas. Like, that now that I'm like in this field, there's all these like transport services and all this stuff. And I'm just like, dude, I would have hitchhiked. You know what I mean? Like, I would have done anything to get there and to just be taken care of for a year and kept from it for a year.
Right.
And that's what happened. Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible.
It is.
And so how was your experience at Burning Tree?
It was intense. Yeah, it was really intense. Their version of detox, because again, and I'd stayed at my family's for a few more days, so there was a little bit of like
some cushion
at home detox, but it's still there. It was like Gatorade, ibuprofen, and bananas, and so when I got there, I still really had to work on like the methadone withdrawal, and their version of detox was like ibuprofen and Gatorade.
Right. There's
a psychiatrist, and here's some trazodone because you keep doing cocaine and you don't know how to sleep, but like, that's all we got for you, bub.
Yeah.
And it was perfect. Like, I'd suffered.
Yeah.
And it was okay. You know? I suffered and it was okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like crying to strangers every day. Like, I'm just so
for
sick
sure.
and emotional.
Yeah.
But it was really, really powerful. I get there and I remember like, I'm compliant because I don't want to be experiencing what I'm experiencing, but I'm so skeptical of like yet another treatment center. Like, yeah, I'm happy to be here and I am vibe with the ranch vibes and whatever, but like, I just didn't think that it was possible. I can't get better. Like, congratulations to anybody else I've been in treatment with or whatever, but like, this isn't for me. Like, I don't get this. I'm not allowed this opportunity that you're allowed. And through the compliance, the experience started to take place. I remember the first was like, there was this, big book group that was ran where we did this thing called Stickman, and I sat there and I thought, holy shit, that's in the book. Like I never seen anything like it, and I was floored by it. But the point that the facilitator was trying to make was that if I had this illness as it was described 90 years ago by a fellowship that has done more to impact us than any other, if I had that, then I didn't have a choice in whether or not I ever picked up another drink or a drug. And the idea of that made no sense to me. Like, what do you mean? I'm deciding to pick up this water bottle and put it down. Science, nervous system and muscles and all this. Like, what do you sound like insane? Like you are a treatment professional?
Yeah.
Have you read a book? It's just a different book.
Listen, nobody wakes up one day and thinks, it'll be fun going to rehab. But sometimes life gets messy, and the bravest thing that you can do is admit that you need a reset.
At Oak Forest Recovery, we're not here to judge. We've been there. We know what it's like. We've been scared. We've been alone, using comedy and jokes to cover it all up. The good news is you don't have to do it alone. We have the tools, we've got the community, and we even have good coffee.
If you or someone you love is struggling, come see us. Healing doesn't have to be boring. It can even be fun, and we're here to help.
But anyways, so she comes and does that, and she starts the whole thing off by asking who has a choice. And I'm the only person out of 30 people in the room who's like, me, for sure me. I'm here. And I want to be here. This is my choice. You can see it, And she didn't fight me at all. She ran through Stickman, and I was like, oh, wow. And at the end, she goes, who still thinks they have a choice? And I'm still like, don't get it. And that night, this guy, Steven, comes out to speak, and he had kind of like rolled through the same thing. I'll shorten his story down to like a lot of bad stuff was happening because he was using meth. And IV meth use, and at a time when like it had seemingly gotten to its worst, he had committed to himself and his family to never do it again, and yet, and so wife and kids are removed. Like he's left to himself, and he's desperate. And he finds himself in a meeting, and instead of sitting through the meeting, kind of divinely inspired, he walks up to an older guy who seems to know other people there, and he's like, "Hey, I need some help. I don't know what this looks like, but I need some help." And the older guy knew enough to know that sitting through a meeting is not going to help you. So let's go outside and talk. We've got some work to do. And so they go sit outside, and the guy's like, tell me the story. What's going on? Steven rolls through it all. And at the end, the guy's like, do you think you have a choice in whether or not you pick up again ever? And I'm like, oh shit. There's that question these cult members keep asking. You know what I mean? And Steven, because he's a smart guy, he's like, of course I do. And I'm like, hell yeah. I'm in the very back.
Yeah.
Where the skeptics sit. And, and I'm like, all right, cool, Steven. We're vibing, we're tracking. And then the old man's like, okay, humor me for a second. And he's like, what do you love most in your entire life? And he's like, my kid, my wife, my parents, my family, whatever, right? And he said, what would your life look like if you got to choose it as opposed to the one you're living now, right? Like if you weren't a meth addict, if you didn't have, prison, jail, whatever, if your life was perfect the way you want, what would it look like? And he just describes stability, like groceries, bills being paid, people answering the phone when he calls, nothing crazy, Rolexes, yachts, nothing like that. This old man's like, okay, cool. So in this hand, you've got your family and everything you love and the whole life that you could have if it weren't for being addicted to methamphetamines. And then in this hand, you got methamphetamines cooked into a needle ready to go just for you. But every bad thing that's ever happened is going to happen, guaranteed. Which one are you going to choose, Steven? And that's a dumber question than the first one. And Steven says, I'm going to pick my fucking family, bro. Why would you even ask me that? And this old man,
so far you haven't.
Exactly. The old man starts laughing at him and goes, well, then why haven't you yet?
Yeah.
And I'm in the back of the room.
You don't have choice. Yeah.
I'm in the back of the room, and it just felt like somebody just like ripped me in half and like laid me on the floor.
So good, man.
Congratulations on knowing that the nervous system exists, Josh. You're in your 5th fucking treatment center, holding on for dear life to this idea that this is up to you at all at this point. And it like lit something, you know? Like I was devastated, and thank God for the first time ever, I was like, nothing I ever do, no amount of want, no amount of need, no amount of loving people around me or my family, it didn't matter. Whether I want to use again or not, I will. Mm-hmm. Even today. It was wild.
Right. Isn't that, it's so, man, I love that story because I feel like this idea of getting sober happens, you know, we've talked about this. It's like by chance, you know what I mean? It's like stretching out a rubber band. Like you don't know when the right moment is going to happen where somebody hears the right thing that just hits them, you know? And for you, it was like not even a conversation with you, right? It was a conversation you had previously not getting it. And that person being super compassionate, not even trying to get you to get it. And then you're at a meeting and you hear somebody else having the same conversation and you're like, oh, and you're like on his side. And this dude just completely just blows that whole theory out of the water. Yeah. And at that point, would you say that was like a turning point for you, or you just were like, it all came crashing in and you just took off?
Yeah. Yeah. Like from there, I think it's really easy to do with cancer. Like we all know about cancer. It's devastating. There's nothing you can do about it. Not wanting to have cancer doesn't cure you of it.
Right.
And that was like the first moment where like hearing that type of metaphor, because before that I was like, this isn't cancer. I just need to grow up, you know? Yeah. But for the first time ever, like that metaphor made perfect sense. Like not wanting to have an illness that's going to kill me doesn't do a fucking thing about the fact that I have it.
Right.
Whoa. Well, then what do I do? And so then all of a sudden it became like, well, if I was diagnosed with cancer and referred to a specialist who I then sat down with, and he said, we're going to spend the next few months talking about cancer and you're going to tell me about the symptoms every day, you know, for a month or whatever. I want you to call me and tell me about all the coughing you've been doing because of your lung cancer. I would find another fucking specialist, you know? It's like, dude, I need treatment. I don't need to know anything about cancer. I want to treat it and I want to not die from it. And that was like the energy that I brought to the 12 steps from there. Yeah. The next meeting we went to, the first person it made sense to ask, the next thing he told me to do. And again, it wasn't necessarily that I like jumped into the water and was down to pass around snakes or anything. Like there were still questions that I had to ask along the way.
For sure.
And like the perfect guy, I mean, back to what you were just saying, like the perfect person says it the perfect way at the perfect time.
Right.
The guy that took me through this work, he started off by explaining, he's like, I'm not your life coach. I'm not a therapist. I'm not an accountant. I don't know what you need to do with your life. I know what I do on a daily basis. And I know what I did in the beginning. And I'll tell you all about it. If you care to do any of it, you're welcome to it.
Right.
And I was like, thank God I could do that, you know?
Yeah.
And so from there, like we went line by line through this book, and everything that it promised to happen has happened so far.
Right.
And when I quit doing it, those diminish. When I get back into it, I get some like new special problems other than untreated alcoholism. Yeah. And I forget to use the tools that were so potent in the beginning. And then I start using them again. It's like, oh, whoa, these are still transformative. These are still potent. This is still not just about opening a book and having a page make me feel something. It's like a literal daily set of tools that transform me and change the way that I view and experience the world every time that I'm willing to use them.
Right.
It's wild.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part about sobriety? Like what's the biggest blessing?
My family now. I think like being a dad has been really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Twins.
I have twins.
And a 4-year-old with a mullet. Fucking sick. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been really neat. And like, I don't know. I feel like the way that I get to show up for them, the stuff we do in the community we're a part of has just, it already softened me. And then becoming a dad softened me even more. Yeah. To just like, my son gets to have feelings. You know what I mean? And I get to like hug him and kiss him. Yeah. And I don't have to be like, hey, you know, walk it off. It up. Yeah. Like there a time and a place. Sure. You know, if he's ever in sports or he has something that's more important than how he feels about it, he gets to learn about that too. But in the meantime, like he can just be a kid because I get to do the work that allows me to just like let him,
yeah,
know?
That's beautiful.
Yeah. It's
what's
cool.
your sober date?
July 12th of 2014.
2014.
Yeah.
What is that? It's a lot of years. 12? How many years is that?
I'm in my 12th year.
12. In your 12th year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's a long
It's my way of like
time.
fronting myself.
Fronting
Does that make
yourself.
sense?
You know, in Australia, that's what they say. Like the birthday, like they say for birthdays, you're in your this year. My dad writes me a card. My dad's Australian and he writes me a card every year. And I'm like, I'm not that old yet. And he's like, no, that's how we do it down under.
Yeah.
You
That's
know?
how I do it in recovery. I'm in my 12th year. I've completed 11 years of sobriety.
In your 12th.
Now I'm in my 12th.
You're in your 12th. I've seen first. I've got to meet clients that have come, you know, through finding Forest through my platform, and I think that's been one of the most special things. And then seeing them, I've seen people come in the beginning, and then I've seen them, you know, at bonfire or after, and seen like the light come back in their eyes, and what a great experience they're having, and this new, you know, community that they have now that could last for the rest of their lives and has set them up like for a successful recovery. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things.
And then whenever I hit that 12 mark, I'm going to be really confused. I'm like, I actually been lying for 364 days. I don't remember.
Sean did so. Sean Livingston was telling me that he did a full episode for his sobriety birthday, and he accidentally said a year because he had been saying beforehand, like he was coming up on this year, and then when he got to the year, he thought he was like a year ahead, and he did the whole fucking episode saying he was that sober, and he wasn't, and had to like get on. He was like, actually,
He's like PSA.
He made it funny, so it was cool.
I've
but
done
I
that
was
with
like,
my age.
I don't know how old I am.
I forget.
I'm gonna be real
like,
with you. I forget
37,
all the time.
38. And then
Yeah,
wait.
it's like a roundabout.
Yeah.
You know, roundabout. Yeah.
I always get stuck thinking about it. I'm like, why don't I know? I don't think about it.
After you get old enough, it just becomes a blur.
So now you work for Cardinal House and
Burning Tree.
Burning Tree.
Yeah, yeah.
Both.
Yeah.
And Burning Tree is where you went. That's pretty fucking cool. So how did that come about?
So I was 3 years sober, you know, Captain Recovery Community, like doing all of the things and shaking hands at every meeting and all this stuff. And I liked it. But anyways, that guy, Ricky, that just passed, he like walked up to me at a meeting and he was like, hey, have you ever thought about like sober living? And I was like, no. But the way that my like alcoholism manifests today is like wherever I am in literally every scenario, gas station, movie theater, I already know how to do it better than whoever's doing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like the moment he said it,
Yeah.
a flood of really,
You're like, this
really
is for me.
convicting ideas and opinions hits
Yeah.
me. Like, well, I know how to do it better than everyone else, but no, I've never thought of it before. Why do you ask? And I didn't actually say that. I just said like, no, why?
You just thought it.
I just immediately was like,
Yeah.
yeah. Why? You know? And he had a friend and him and his friend had been talking about it for months and months and months. And they started an LLC. And if you don't know, Next Step Sober Living, not a good name. There's like 700 of them throughout the country. These guys had this like
There's a lot.
LLC for a year that they had not done anything with. And anyways, he asks me and I was like, no, but I think that'd be neat. Tell me more. And within 30 days of that conversation, we had a house that was furnished and our first resident. And it was like something about what he saw in me was right. Like my presence there, because of his support and the facilitation and whatever, and his credit score at the time, it just immediately took shape. And that first house became full within the first month. And we would walk in and those guys would be at the dining table with a pen and paper out doing 4 steps. And like, yeah, it was, from the start, it was just something super special.
Yeah.
But we had other jobs and we always looked at it as like, we want to be the accessible place, not at the expense of anything, like not so accessible that it's like gross, you know what I mean? But we always wanted to be accessible to whoever needed it.
Hell yeah.
And because of that, it was like a shitty business,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. A purpose-driven business.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
And now it gets to be like nonprofit, and you know, we can like better leverage the support of a community that knows what we do and how we do it and respects and admires that, and then actually like ask them for help in doing it. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and then my wife got pregnant with our now almost 4-year-old son at a time when I was like doing Cardinal House and had this like blue collar, like really great gig, but no health insurance.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm going to be a dad. Health insurance is an adult thing to have.
Yeah.
But what would I do that would be, you know, wouldn't keep me from having to give up the sober living thing that I really love? Doesn't pay me, but I love it. And so I called this treatment center called Brazos Recovery, and I just begged him for a job. And the CEO and I were friends already. And he was like, I've been waiting for this call. And I went to go work there for like 4.5 years. And it was magic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then some other stuff and a similar call with Burning Tree. And now I get to be working for the place that like changed my life.
It's amazing.
It is.
Yeah. How long have you been at Burning Tree now?
Not long, like maybe coming up on 7 months.
That's great.
What is that? What is this month?
August.
It is August,
Yep.
almost September.
Yep.
I started in the beginning of February.
Oh,
So,
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
It's been a great experience so far.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it a lot. It's a
Yeah.
very unusual thing, you
Yeah.
know, like even like throughout the entire country. It's an unusual approach to the whole thing. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah.
Like it's not like
Yeah, it's
anything
unique.
else. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And not like an
different.
arrogant, like
No,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
I really value like a million different ways to go about all this so that someone will say yes to trying,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I just love our approach, and I love
Yeah.
that I get to work there.
I think there's different approaches that work for different people.
sure.
For
And I
sure.
think that
Yeah.
that's for sure a thing. Yeah.
Well, and it's weird if we all do the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, well, then how do you choose which one to go to? I don't know, dude. Good
Right.
luck. You
Yeah.
know, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Is
But
a lot of the same people that work there today were the same people that were there when you went? So that's so,
yeah, it's an
that's
anomaly. So
rad.
every department head is an alumni
yeah.
throughout Burning Tree Ranch and Burning Tree Lodge. And even like the, you know, there's
Yeah.
like a parent company and then the two, and like every department head is an alumni.
Yeah.
And even more so, there are so many staff that have been there for like more than 10 years, some 18 years. Like
Yeah.
it's just weird.
It's so great.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah. I feel like that's the best way to work in this industry is when it's all alumni.
For sure.
You know, it
But
just has
you guys kind of have that vibe.
Yeah.
I say we're mostly alumni. Even our
Yeah.
clinical team now
Yeah.
is like, mostly alumni.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty
Clinical
cool.
team,
I've met
It's
them.
more special like
techs,
that,
operations.
you know?
Yeah, it's
It's a
more
cult,
special.
sure.
Yeah.
for
But
sure.
It's a cool ass
For
cult.
sure. It's a cool ass cult.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Alumni just get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's hard to hire.
Well, I think the
this
fact that they
field.
want to come back and work there already says
That's
a lot.
For sure.
Yeah.
I went
Yeah.
somewhere and then I worked there and I didn't have the best experience
Yeah. Right.
working there. But I think the fact that they come and then they stay and they work there and they love it is says a lot.
yeah. Yeah. I think like when I spoke at y'all's like bonfire meeting, like that experience was
Isn't Bonfire
unreal.
sick? It's like the coolest meeting ever.
Well, because like I made a joke at the beginning of this about like Texas recovery.
Yeah.
There's like some weird like shadow arrogant part of me that like half believes that, right?
Yeah.
And so I come out here, and every time I'm out here and I do something in or around recovery camp, bonfire meeting, I'm just like, dude, you don't know anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's pockets everywhere.
Yeah, like I'm
there's
always
just pockets everywhere.
I'm always up against like the worst parts of me that like make up that I
Yeah.
already know everything about everything.
Yeah.
Anyways, I come out and I'm speaking at this deal, and I got to hang out with your whole team and you that whole day, like whole
Yeah.
day. It's the longest fucking tour of my life, but it was neat because it was,
Yeah.
I felt like I was a part of the crew by the end of
Yeah.
it. And then I'm at that bonfire meeting and I speak, and all of a sudden there's all these like page quotes going off out of a group of people that are all like under, 5 years sober. Half are alumni, half are like current clients. They're quoting the book and they're talking about a community and they're talking about like getting in the fucking car together. And it's just like, whoa, That's neat. Dude.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
neat. Not that I think like book quoting doesn't necessarily mean anybody's going to stay sober, but it just means they're engaged.
Yeah, they're in
it.
They're in it. They're paying attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was really cool.
Oh, yeah.
That's dope. Yeah, it's a cool deal, man. This whole thing is a cool deal. It's rad that you're working at Burning Tree. I think that's special.
It is. Yeah. And it's been really cool because like Cardinal House is morphing into doing more, right? And you and I had talked about this like a year ago. And like now that we have this outpatient and I worked with the clinical team to kind of build something that would target or best treat adoptees, which is like a projection of my own stuff, like all the therapeutic and like spiritual healing that's taken place for me. It was like, hey, we can create this and put it in a container. And have
you seen any data on like how many adoptees end up in addiction? I just wonder because I feel like I've treated
a lot,
so many people that were adopted. And in my regular life, I don't meet that many people that are adopted.
Yeah.
But in the field of addiction, I feel like I meet a lot of people that, come from adoption.
Yeah. There's
it just seems interesting to me. Like, I feel like there's a high percentage.
I think that there is. And I know like it first kind of like came to me when I got into like the professional side of all this, and I could look back at my Burning Tree experience in like retrospect and identify that if I was one of 32 clients, there were like 5 adoptees.
Right.
And that's
what I'm saying.
Unreal.
You don't see that in normal society.
Right.
I just don't see that. But in this field of addiction, I mean, I think we've got a couple right now. And I think I don't think there's ever not been somebody who was adopted who's in my system. I mean, literally since the beginning, there's always at least been one person and multiple. Which I think is a really fascinating niche.
At, the Primal Wound. And like...
is that a book?
Yeah, so Burning Tree has like a treatment plan for adoptees.
Wow.
Because, I mean, you're there a year. So you get to do, get to
do a lot of work.
12-step stuff. And then they identify different stuff for like therapeutic interventions. And one of them was this. It was this like adopt. And I remember telling him like, hey, I'm here because shooting heroin is bad and dangerous. Like, leave me alone. I look like my family. They were awesome. Like, leave it be, Yeah. And they like made me read this book and it just ripped me open. And so what we kind of realized is like, there's so little language for me to talk about. Like, the unavoidable science of trauma is that it impacts my physiology. And having a physiological impact from a traumatic experience that I don't happen to have any language to talk about keeps me from getting to do CPT, ART. Like, I don't get access to like any of these talk therapy models to treat that trauma that impacted my physiology and thereby all of my relationships, whether it's romantic or friendships or work or whatever, right? Or like my own internal narrative. Like, all those things were impacted by this thing that I don't also get to talk about because I was a year and a half old. Right. And so the vision of like the Cardinal House clinical curriculum is, if we can create something that can heal people who don't get to talk about it through that or in that way, it will also appeal to other men. Because I don't know if this was your experience, but the first time I started sitting in therapists' offices, it was like the challenge was on, like, who can sit longer, quieter, and not even just to be an asshole, but like, how am I doing? I'm good.
Yeah. For sure.
And so it's like, okay, well, what type of healing and what kind of tools can somebody who doesn't get to have language use? And then would that also work with somebody who can't? You know what I mean? Or like doesn't. Right. And the answer is yes, because I fucking lived it, like I know that it works. And so that's like our whole thing, like any out of the box, it's like this attachment based breath work, and like just a group of dudes being like, hey, I get it. And we don't have to talk all about it. We're going to educate. We're going to give you some tools, and you get to be your own fucking medicine, brother. You know?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
neat.
rad.
I'm excited.
It's dope. So did you guys open up
It's
an
open.
outpatient?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
First
dude.
group's Thursday.
Wow.
It's amazing.
I know.
That's
and you know
cool.
exactly where I'm at, dude. I've been without reception for like 5 days.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, what's happening? You know?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that my phone wasn't going to work out there. It
Oh,
was-
wow.
But you probably
it was
needed it.
perfect.
Yeah.
You needed a little
Oh, yeah.
break.
It was perfect.
First group's on Thursday. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
It is. It's exciting.
It's dope.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Excited to see these babies, though.